Tywin Lannister is an idiot, and I'm tired of people trying to pretend otherwise because, like, yes, do you sometimes occasionally off the person that you wanted to off successfully? You do. But does that make you some kind of a genius? No, 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 it doesn't. It just makes you that doomed kid from those, like, social experiments where they offer a kid a cookie and say, like, hey, you can have your cookie now, but if you wait, you can have 2 cookies. Let's see what you do. And then there's, like, the one, like, sad kid who, like, can't wait and only eats the 1 cookie, and then you, like, find out that they've tracked those kids for, like, 30 years and, like, their lives, like, spiraled out of control because they didn't have self-control. That's Tywin Lannister. And at its root, that is Tywin's issue. Tywin lacks self-control. Tywin believes that his first reaction, which is usually a violent one, is the correct reaction, and he goes with it. Why? Because Tywin Lannister believes in an ideology of fear. In his mind, fear is the only reliable way that you can control the masses, your family, and everything in between. He wants anyone he has to deal with to think that he is capable of doing monstrous things so that they toe the line, and he ensures that they believe that by occasionally doing monstrous things. We can see all the way back to when he was a very young man and he dealt with the Tarbeck Rain Rebellion, the Rains of Castamere, where he wiped out a couple of, big noble houses. Yes, he did that to inspire fear so that people would, like, take the Lannisters seriously. And while that may have worked in the short term, in the long term, what does that do to, like, condition the people that you're trying to work with here? Nothing good. Because yes, you can try to rule through fear and it will be effective in the short term, but you are not going to win actual loyalty. You are not going to win anything like that's actually positive with the people you are working with. They are scared of you, but more than scared, they resent you for that, because, like, who wants to be scared all the time? So what you are really doing is incentivizing people to basically just bide their time and wait until they have a moment. Wait until they see an opportunity to get out from under your yoke, because it is literally a yoke. You are controlling these people by scaring them to death. Sometimes, deathing them to death. And this is one of the big flaws in the logic of the Red Wedding, which people like to point to and be like, this is the greatest example of Tywin's brilliance. And, like, no. The Red Wedding is a massive mistake. It is a massive tactical error with, like, ramifications that he, like, will never even get to see. They outlive him, but they're coming at the cost of what he was trying to establish, which was the security and the supremacy of his family. And that's the issue with his reactionary behavior, with these, like, short-term solutions, is that they are short-term. Ruling through fear is a short-term solution. It isn't a long-term one. And so something like the Red Wedding, yes, it deals with the immediate threat. The threat of Robb Stark and his army and them never having lost a battle. Yes, he has dealt with that. But what has he done in the long run? Well, he has forever ruined his family and, anyone who is working with his family, their relationship with the North. The North might be playing nice in the meantime, but as we learn from Wyman Manderley, in secret, they are plotting something to take down the Boltons and by extension, reignite the war with the Lannisters and the South. And I would argue that Tywin Lannister's life is riddled with these sort of, like, short-sighted errors that he makes, where he thinks that a forceful hand in the present will somehow work out in the long run. But what are you doing? What are you setting up? You are setting up resentments from everyone that you're dealing with, whether it's the North or your own son that's gonna off you on a toilet. And so at the end of the day, Tywin Lannister is the architect of his own destruction. He is the one that is putting out these lessons into the world and then reaping the benefits, in this case, his own murder. And let me just say, as a recent graduate of Utah Valley University, I can spot when this sort of thing happens pretty easily. So yeah, if you promote an ideology that glorifies violence and shows that violence is a necessity to all the people that you are, putting under your control, who are existing under the yoke of your influence, they're probably going to internalize that. And when they find their moment, they're going to think that the only tool that they have to use is that violence, is these short violent actions, except, oh no, now you, Tywin, the one who has promoted this way of thinking, you are now the victim of it. That would be a really dumb thing to do, don't you think? So I can look at Tywin Lannister and I can look at the course that his life has taken, and I can understand how it's kind of shaped that way. I can see that, like, this kid, when he was a kid, saw the immense disrespect that his father took, and how his father was kind of like the instrument of that through his own weakness. We can see how from that he would think, okay, the only sensible choice, the only choice that like ends with us back on top, is doing the complete opposite, is not taking that disrespect, always lashing out first and instilling this respect through fear. We can see how he logically got there, but that doesn't mean that, like, it's not his fault that he went to the other extreme and now he is reaping the benefits of that. Tywin Lannister's fate is his own, because at the end of the day, he thinks he's as smart as a portion of y'all in the audience think he is. He thinks that he has figured out the entire ballgame, and therefore can't see the holes in his logic. He can't see where he might be erring right now. There is an arrogance to this character that is so detrimental to him and eventually the existence of his family at large. He thinks he has it all figured out and refuses to acknowledge, like, all of his shortcomings. Even, like, shortcomings that he perceives to be shortcomings, he doesn't ever admit them to anyone else. We know that there are those secret tunnels going to the brothel in King's Landing that was made for another hand. It's him because he's the guy who, like, purports to, like, have never looked for anything after his wife died, but that isn't the case, is it? Especially when you find, Shay at the end of Storm of Swords in his bed. This man is someone who indulges in these same sorts of behaviors that he critiques because he thinks he's infallible, whereas other people aren't. And it got him killed and smelling of poop. Because remember, after Tyrion shoots him on a toilet, he smells of poop for his whole funeral. Why? Because he probably, hit the intestines, but it's also, the metaphor. Anyway, this has been a video about Tywin Lannister, and only Tywin Lannister. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything else that you want me to talk about in the comments, please drop it down below. Make sure you like and do buttons and stuff. It helps. And yeah, we'll talk to you another day. Have a good day. Bye-bye.